Hello, and welcome to this YouTube series. I don't know if that's the correct thing to call this. Welcome to me documenting my life um, in a much less edited way. Um, I haven't made a video in a couple months. I've just been kind of offline as much as I can be, which really just meant no uploading, no Twitch streaming, um, trying to limit my time on social media. Um, and I've had kind of mixed results. I was going through a lot. Winters are very hard for me. I have severe depression, and that is already a lot to deal with before you take away the sun from me. I live in Michigan, so it's like a good 6 to 7 months minimum where it's just cold and gray and sad outside all the time. You can tell by looking at this video, it's gray. I was skateboarding in a t-shirt like 3 to 4 days ago, and there is currently snow on the ground. So we get hints of spring, and then it gets taken away, and then we get hints of spring where it's like, t-shirt weather, and then it gets taken away again. So that's a lot. I don't know specifically why this year has been very tough. I think it was because of a lot of my travel taking me, especially to like Florida, where it was beautiful, and then I come home and it's gross here. Like, I was actively very sad about the fact that, I've lived in Michigan almost my entire life, and I'm still not used to this. I'm still not used to these winters. My body physically does get used to the cold. It's currently 20 degrees here. And the other day it was 50 degrees. Like I said, I was skateboarding for like an hour, and your body does adapt to it, but it just adapts to being cold. At least for me, it doesn't adapt very well to the lack of sun. Like, the sun is obviously still there. I'm filming this in entirely natural sunlight. There are no lights on in my house, but it's all gray, and it sucks. And it's like, for the first time in a couple weeks, I saw the sun. No clouds, no barriers between me and this giant ball of light. I mean, obviously there's the ozone, whatever, but you know what I mean. Like, the sunlight was directly shining on me, and it felt so good. I could feel myself just healing and being happy. And Michigan, you don't get that, you know. I think of places like Seattle, which are very notorious for being gray and rainy, or just kind of other cities in that vein. And Michigan is just, I love it to death here. I really do. I'm a diehard fan of Michigan in general, and I think it's very beautiful. It just, is unfortunate that the winters do this to me, and it's obviously not just me. Seasonal depression is a very real, very serious thing. I take an incredible amount of supplements, both for pre-existing health issues, and then trying to also balance out, a lot of chemicals. So I take vitamin D, I take a bunch of supplements, but that's not the same thing as, experiencing the warmth of the sun. Like, I know people will get heat lamps, and they'll put heat lamps in their house like they're a lizard, and you gotta, it's a lot to deal with. So I've been trying to figure out, what does the future look like for me? Where do I think I want to live? Um, and I don't really know the answer to that. The cost of living is so high. Even here in Michigan, I'm in a 2 bedroom apartment, uh, 1.5 bathrooms. I don't have my own washer and dryer. I have to go to the laundromat to do my laundry, and I'm paying 1,600 a month. Before we split it, this is a 1,600 a month apartment. That does not include utilities. That doesn't include internet. That doesn't include grocery bills. So I have a rough estimate in my head of what I'm paying per month just to exist here in this apartment in gray, sad, cold Michigan. So heaven forbid that I even think about, what if I want to move to Florida? What if I want to move to California? Those places are so out of reach for me at this current point in time. Um, and so I'm trying to figure out, okay, like, am I gonna renew my lease? Am I gonna try and downsize? Am I gonna, like, what is the answer? There's obviously no one concrete correct answer. Um, I just have to keep working, try and do my best to be self-sustaining like I am, and try and keep that status quo. But at some point, like, I want more, and I don't think it's greedy to want more. Um, I mean, of course I'm gonna say that. It's me. Like, I'm not gonna say, like, oh, I think I'm greedy and that I want unreasonable things. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I want things that are not the best for me, and that's a very human thing. Um, but also, is it unreasonable for me to want to make, I don't know, $20 an hour? I'm not making anything close to that right now. I'm making enough to pay my rent and go do things, but at some point something has to give, right? Like, it's either going to be me or the world, and historically speaking, I'm most likely going to crack before anything out there cracks. Um, which is why there's been a lack of uploading, of content creation. I've just been ingesting content. I've been listening to a variety of music, reading a lot of self-help books, um, and just trying to spend my time being present, trying to fill my house with artwork that I really enjoy, or of things that remind me of happy times. And I'm just trying to figure out who I am as someone who's almost 26. And I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to go on this journey. I don't live at home. I have complete independence outside of, going to work for my 40 hours a week. Other than that, my obligations are my own. I decide what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do. I decide who I'm going to speak to, who I'm not going to speak to. And I've been trying to be very selective with my time and learn to be more selfish. And that's actually been very helpful for me. Just resting more when I need rest, not putting myself out in order to make other people happy or make other people more comfortable. I'm not trying to make anybody uncomfortable, but I have to put myself first, which is a very difficult thing for me to do, because for as long as I can remember, I've always put everybody's happiness before my own. I've always been in situations where I'm picking up the pieces of different situations, and I am trying to make everybody else feel better while not soothing myself And it's coming up on 2 years now where I've been out of a relationship. I was in a relationship for 6 years, and when that ends, you know, I everything changed. It wasn't just I lost this one person. I lost like everything. Um, I had to move. I lost entire groups of friends. I lost an entire side of my family, and then um, just everything in my life changed. And it's been almost 2 years now of figuring out where I belong in this world, where I belong in relation to other people, and just trying to get some sense of independence, which I have, um, but I've been reading, like I said earlier, a lot of self-help books. I've been trying to become a very secure person, and I think when it comes to relationships, there's an ebb and flow, and I go through these periods of being really secure. I'm at the very top where I feel amazing, and then I dip, and I get these really anxious tendencies when I'm talking to people or trying to become involved with people, and I feel like I lose the progress that I made, and then that leads me to retreat, and I become avoidant, and I don't talk to anybody. I really spend a lot of my time internally just trying to recharge, and then I try and go back up to this point where I feel secure and like I can do this roller coaster of emotions again. And a few months ago, I I'm still it's always it's a never-ending process. It's a never-ending ride. You can't get away from this. But I was at a very low point, especially after the videos that I uploaded a few months ago. When I was sitting at my desk for 8 to 12 hours a day editing videos and like polishing them, and being so anxious about what is my relationship with the people around me. What if these videos don't do well, or what if they don't do as well as the videos that came before? Like, and I was freaking myself out. And I like to pride myself on being someone who's really not an overly anxious person. I used to have an incredibly bad anxiety, and I've got a really good handle on it now, and I'm very happy about that. I try to be a very level-headed person, but obviously it's not possible for me to be that way 24/7. Like, I will slip up, and I will get into situations that I look back on later and I'm not happy with how things went down. But I had a full meltdown. Like, I editing that like half an hour, Orlando trip video, it ruined me. It made me so unhappy. And I wasn't working at the time. I was waiting to start my new job. And all I was focusing on, all I was obsessed with was just getting this video done. How do people feel about me? What are people saying about me? What do people think about me? And don't get me wrong, I still care. It's very hard for me not to care, but I've put a lot less emphasis on that. And I hope that that is not me lying to myself. I truly do hope that I have made some improvements in my time away from uploading videos and doing live streams. It's just been very exhausting for me to have a public image. I'm a nobody, you know? Like I'm not a big creator. I'm not someone who has any more say or importance than anybody else, but I was still dealing with these problems of like, this is what I can say publicly, and this is what I have to portray, and that is so lame to me, you know? Like I started off this channel, well, I started this channel years ago. The videos that were on this channel are now private or unlisted, because they are just not things that I want people to have access to. There's nothing bad in them. There's still videos that I think are important for me to have access to if I want to have access to them. But who I was in those videos is not who I am now. And even who I was in these past uploads that are public for everyone to see is not who I am now. Like I think a really good way to describe it is like, I go through these failures, and who I was before the failure has kind of like, in a way, died. And so it's just this cycle of death and rebirth and growth and rebuilding. And I look back and I don't recognize who I am, you know? But in a good way. It makes me sad, but it's also really good that I've moved forward from who I was in the past. I've reevaluated, I've done my mourning, and I am still here. And I'm trying really hard not to let this world break me. I've been broken, I've been, beaten down, and I've really thought about giving up and shutting myself away from the world and becoming bitter, and becoming resentful. And that's not what I want. I don't want that. I think a lot of people have gone through that, and it's very hard to come back from that bitterness and that resentment, because it is easier to be cold. It is easier to shut yourself away. It is easier to put a cocoon around yourself so that the world cannot hurt you. And I really wanted to do that, and it's a never-ending battle, just like everything else. It's never gonna end. It's a never-ending struggle. But I think, that's not what I want. I want to be known as someone who is, level-headed, but also I'm not bitter. Like, I can still be fun. I can still put myself out there. I can still be happy and not save my happiness for just these private, intimate moments. But to just be known as someone with a kind heart. And even after everything that I've gone through, that's what I want. I don't want to just be, known as the guy who is just bitter. I don't want that. And some people will agree with that, and some people will disagree with that. And I don't know why I brought that up, because it doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't want to let this world break me. And even saying that, I know it will. You don't get out of this unscathed. And that's just part of the journey. But I sincerely hope that I can just keep brushing myself off and getting up and coming back. So, very long-winded way of talking about where I've been, what's been going on. I'm sure there's probably still things I didn't talk about and questions that are unanswered. Um, but I'm not done. I'm not done by a long shot. I have things that I've recorded, things that I've experienced, and things that I want to share. And there's things that I can't even picture or imagine that I will want to share. And yeah, so this channel is just gonna be my life, whatever that looks like. I don't want to polish it and say that there's nothing bad going on in my life. It's an ebb and flow, and I appreciate you watching. If anybody made it this far into the video, I appreciate that. And hopefully I will be back soon. I don't know with what, I don't know in what capacity, but I enjoy talking and being here, and just being able to grow as a person. And we had 100 subscribers. That may not sound like a lot, but to me that is amazing. I have goals for this channel. I have things I want to do. I just want to keep growing as both a person and as the owner of this channel. And I want to see where we go and what opportunities we can create for ourselves and what we can get into. So yeah, that's enough. I've been sitting here talking for a long time. I didn't have a plan when I started to hit record, but I just feel comfortable now. And so I wanted to say thank you. And yeah, all right, I'm gonna go. You should also probably go. If there's another video over here or somewhere or something, I don't know. I'm literally just gonna upload this from my phone, so it's not gonna be edited. I appreciate you, and yeah, okay, I'm done.